Morning, Cochise County, and welcome to the Michael Zehr Show. Today's date, I screwed this part up, is Friday, November 26th. Hope everybody had a nice, peaceful, joyous Thanksgiving yesterday. I know I did. I spent it with my dad, Jack. Dad, if you're watching, shout out to you. And some friends of his came down from Lake Havasu. Skip and Linda, and then my son came down from Tucson. So there were 6 of us, and we had a nice, joyful, peaceful celebration, watched some football. The Bears actually won, so I was kind of happy about that. Broke their 5-game losing streak. So anyways, I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I know that we did. Today, my guest with us from the Rising Eagle Studios here at the Warrior Healing Center is Rusty Navarre. Rusty, thank you so much for joining us. Shake your hand there. There you go. And so thank you for coming in and joining us. For those of you that are watching us live here, the Warrior Healing Center is closed today. Tim and Kathy and Beth are getting a well-deserved, well-rested day off today, along with Christine, who's the volunteer coordinator, and all the volunteers that work out of the Warrior Healing Center. So they got a day off today.
They need it.
Yep. So I came in and opened up the building just for this live stream, just for you. And then we're going to lock her back up and head on home. So first thing I wanted to ask you about is, since yesterday was Thanksgiving, can you share something with us that something that you were thankful for?
The part-time job I have.
Okay.
I grew up with horses and
okay.
other equines and was in the industry for a number of years until 2011, where all of that disappeared from my life. And about 3 years ago, I met a lady right here at the Warrior Healing Center. She's not a veteran.
No? Who's that?
Her name is Helen.
Helen? Okay.
Yes. And she has a couple of horses and donkeys, and she needed some help with them. And so she hired me to help her. And
outstanding.
It has just been a blessing. I'm back with my horses, and I don't ride anymore, but okay. I do enjoy being around them.
Well, let's give Helen a little shout out here. Maybe she might be watching. Do you know why she came into the center and how you guys were able to meet? What was the story?
She was getting some treatment from one of our vendors here in the center, because they not only help veterans, but they do help civilians as well.
Okay.
And so she had an appointment with a vendor, and I was sitting at the front desk as a volunteer, and we got to talking, and she was explaining what she needed, and asked if I knew of anybody that would be interested in a part-time job. And
so you raised your hand.
I raised my hand and I said, "Hi, I've been doing this my whole life. I'm overqualified to do this job, but it has truly been a wonderful thing. In fact, I'm sort of estranged from my family. I haven't spoken with my daughter for a number of years.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And I recently broke contact with a nephew, and so I found myself alone. And so usually I only work weekends.
Okay.
But I know that the 2 other people that helped him out during the week both had families. So I said, you know what? Tell them I'm willing to work for them. If I can come in, I'll work for them on Thanksgiving. And that way I got to be around the animals yesterday.
Oh, that's outstanding.
So my day was blessed by being around the animals.
I got to share with you just a little story here. We had a little bit of a falling out in our family with the, beliefs on who should wear a mask, who shouldn't wear a mask.
Right.
Mandates for vaccines. And sadly, so it's sad to hear that families are falling apart.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure your situation. I don't want to dwell too much on it. I'm just saying that it's sad that this stuff happens that we can't kind of
control,
set aside maybe a little bit, and just so hopefully I'll pray for you. Hopefully that your daughter will reach out.
I hope so. I've reached out
touch
to
base with
her, and she believes something that didn't happen,
Right.
and she has some special needs, as we all do.
And we love our kids.
Yes,
There's nothing we wouldn't do it for them, right?
But she expects an apology for something that never happened, and I can't.
You can't do that.
I can't do that. For her own mental health and mine as well.
And yours as well, yeah.
I can't apologize for something that never happened. So,
well, Rusty, I have to say thank you for sharing that. And I'm on your side as a parent. I know what that's like to go through, and it's not easy. It's
not. I think about her all the time. I love her dearly.
Yeah.
Well,
if by chance, if she ever happens to watch this, you want to say anything, just say hi real quick.
I love her. Yeah. I love her, and she's always in my thoughts.
What's her first name?
Her first name's Jessica.
Jessica, your mom loves you very much. If you're watching this,
I also wanted to. She won't have contact with me at all, which is unfortunate. She recently got married about a year or so ago. I'm thinking.
Oh
wow. And I'm proud of her. She's been with this man. I don't necessarily like him, but that's not what's important, because that's her husband, and it's her choice.
Yeah.
So I am proud of her.
Very good.
I'm very proud of her. She's managed to survive and thrive, and I'm just love her, and I'm proud of her. So if you're watching, Jessica, I love you. I'm proud of you.
Aww. Gonna make me cry now.
Yeah, well, I still do that on occasion, but we'll try not to do it today.
So if you're joining us here at the Rising Eagle Studios at the Warrior Healing Center, if you have any questions for Rusty, just type them down here in the comment section, and I'll be happy to pass them on to her. Or any other comments, love to interact with you, try and get that going too as well. So let's talk a little bit about what military life has been for Rusty. So first off, what branch did you go into?
I joined the Army.
United States
Army. Yeah.
Okay. What year did you go in?
I went in 1997.
In 97, okay.
Yes.
And what was one of your fondest memories when you enlisted and was in basic training? You got a good memory to share with us?
Well, I have a lot of good memories.
Good.
One of my fondest memories is I tried to join the Navy, and that didn't work out. So I went to the Army. And I'll be honest with you, I looked about like I look now, overweight, out of shape. And I was 34 years old, and nobody was really interested in having me join their military.
Well, the Army will take anybody, right?
Yeah, they will. And the recruiter interrupted me twice when I came in. The recruiter interrupted me twice while I was taking the practice ASVAB. And by the time I finished it, he quit interrupting me and started taking me very seriously.
Wow.
So it was a struggle to get in, because obviously I had to lose weight. But it was the Army wasn't easy.
Right.
But I also had a lot of fun. I was in such a unique position, being the oldest person.
Where did you enlist from? Where's
I
the Mets
enlisted
at?
from San Diego.
San Diego, California.
San Diego.
Okay. All right.
And my father was a retired Navy veteran.
Okay.
Served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. So I had to make him sit down when I told him I joined the Army. Yeah, he wasn't real happy. But it was such an interesting experience, because I think so much of basic training and all of that is geared to take people that are just leaving home for the first time.
Right.
And I wasn't in that position.
So what made you join?
Well,
did
truth be
happen,
told, yes, truth be told. Came home one day from my part-time job out of school and found my husband sitting at the kitchen table. He had been fired from his job and had been charged with grand theft felony.
Oh, my.
Yes. And so we didn't have a great marriage by any stretch. And so I moved out and went back to Mom's house, lived in her garage, which had been converted to a bedroom, and ended up on welfare. And that just wasn't the way I was raised. I was raised that if you're capable, you do for you.
Pride.
Yeah. And, you did whatever you had to do. And I found out through a mutual friend who was joining the Navy that I was still young enough to go in. Barely, but still young enough.
Right.
So I literally jumped in my car and went to the recruiter. And that was in October of 96.
Okay.
And I left in January of 97 for basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
And what was it like being one of the older soldiers at that time? I mean, you had a lot of experience, a lot of things to offer.
Yes.
The younger people, so.
Well, they weren't real interested in what I had to offer. No. Part of the problem was, 2 days into basic, my first sergeant walks up and we're marching in formation. He walks up and he grabs me by the arm and he says, "Hey, Grandma."
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so I was Grandma from then on. And I also became injured right away and ended up on crutches. So for most of the people I was with, although I was setting a great example, they didn't realize it at the time.
No.
All they saw was this old lady that was on crutches that was in their way. And it wasn't until I graduated with the same class, because of my tenacity and my, I just refused to give up.
There you go.
Is basically, even though I was on crutches, I participated in everything. I did everything. I passed all the major milestones you need to get out of basic training. When I first went in, I was not in very good shape. I missed getting a promotion for most improved PT score, because when I left basic, instead of passing each physical event at 50%, I passed it at 60 or higher.
Okay.
So I pushed myself really hard in basic. But it was also a lot of fun because of my age. For example, I remember one of the first times one of the drill sergeants got in my face and yelled at me. I gave him the mother look. The mother look.
Right.
Yeah. And he actually backed off for about 30 seconds, and then we both realized what was going on. And we both laughed about it. But it was just a very different experience for me, I think. And it was also different for the drill sergeants. They weren't used to dealing with somebody that was older than they were.
Right.
And I was older than all of them.
And when you went in and having that experience, stuff like that, did they appoint you like a squad leader, platoon leader?
They did at first, like that? And then I got injured.
Okay.
And that kind of fell by the wayside because they were actually, I found out after I graduated, but I found out they actually had a book going to see when I'd quit.
And you didn't, so everybody lost.
So everybody lost. Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a good feeling. And
yeah, you gotta love that.
It was a kind of here, take this, shove it in your face. Look at me now. And the other thing that happened is the pants I wore to basic training, when I went to put them on after I graduated, they fell to the floor because I hadn't actually lost any weight.
Okay.
I transferred all the fat
to muscle. Yeah.
And so I'd slimmed down, but I hadn't actually lost any weight. I weighed the same amount. But I'd turned it all to muscle. So it was just a very interesting experience, And I know at the end of it all, most of the drill sergeants were holding me up to the other soldiers saying, this is what you need to be.
A good example.
This is a true soldier. They were saying, for all the adversity she'd been through in basic, she held her head up. She kept a smile on her face. She kept on going.
Yep. Didn't give up.
And she graduated.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I love hearing stories like that.
Well, I didn't look at it as anything spectacular. I just looked at it, here I was on welfare. I didn't want to raise my daughter that way.
No.
I knew I couldn't depend on the husband.
Oh, so you had your daughter at the time that you went in there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. She was 11 years old. She went with me to the recruiters.
Okay.
In fact, she's the one, and I hope someday she sees this, because she's the one responsible for my first duty assignment.
Well, if she doesn't do Facebook, if she does,
she does do
YouTube or any of that
Facebook.
stuff, so hopefully
She
she'll
does
see
do
that.
Facebook. So, but she went to the recruiters, and this was at the time we were filling out the dream sheet. And I wanted her to see the process because she wasn't a little kid. She was 11 years old. You know, she wasn't a little tiny toddler that you just make decisions and don't worry. You know, I knew what I was doing was the best thing for her, but I wanted her to be involved. So, you know, when the recruiter asked, at the time I took her with me to the recruiter, we were talking about my dream sheet. And we all know what that dream sheet is. You're dreaming if you think you're ever going to get stationed there. Right. Yep. And so she said that one of her conditions for me going in was that I put as my first choice on my dream sheet, Alaska. And I got it.
Really?
I got it. I actually got it.
So what was your MOS when you went in? What was your job?
I was radio operator and maintainer.
Wow. You know, I run into a lot of radio and communications people here in Sierra Vista. I wonder why.
Probably because Wachuk is
signal.
A signal post. Yeah. Yes. In fact, I was never stationed here. That's what's so incredible. No.
So you went to Alaska as your first duty assignment. What was that like for you? Did you like it?
I loved Alaska.
Did you?
I absolutely loved it. I loved the winter sports. And I think part of the reason I loved it so much is that I was born in Florida, raised in San Diego. I'd never been in that kind of climate.
Okay.
And so it was just beautiful. Alaska's gorgeous. You know,
and you didn't have any problems adapting to the cold and the dark.
When you're in Alaska, before you can train in the wintertime, they have a thing where they make you stay outside without a tent. You're given your sleeping bag. You're allowed to pick what you want, but you have to sleep outside overnight at -10 below.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so the first time I went to do that, I was scared to death. I thought I was going to die, man.
Yeah.
I did. I thought I was going to die. But I'll tell you what, sometimes the Army gets it right. And that cold weather gear, they get right. Because I was toasty warm and cozy. And
what base was that?
That was Fort Richardson.
Fort Richardson,
right
Alaska.
Outside of Anchorage. But we always trained in the winter. We never trained in the summer. In the summer, we were fishing.
Okay.
We were doing fun stuff in the summer. We called it training, but you know, it was, hey, let's do a ruck march out to the lake where we had hot dogs and went fishing, and you know, and then we'd ruck back to the barracks, you know.
And you had your fishing tackle in your bag, right?
Oh yeah, fishing tackle. We carried hot dogs. We carried the charcoal for because there was a lake there on post that we would march out to.
Wow.
And you know, we did a lot of stuff like that. In the winter, we got serious with our training, and we usually ended up north. And I think the coldest I ever experienced was 67 below zero. And 67 below zero is no joke. I walked diagonally across an intersection and could feel my eyelids freezing.
I would think it'd be really difficult breathing that cold,
It is. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
You know, but it was, again, a challenge. And I you know, spent 4 years and became an Arctic warrior. And I can, you know, that's something I'm very proud of, that I can survive in that climate.
That's great. So you were at Fort Richardson then for 4 years, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then where did you go from there?
El Paso, Texas.
Oh, that's got to be a shock. Fort Bliss, huh?
Yep.
That's where I had basic.
I wouldn't call that bliss. There was nothing blissful about Fort Bliss.
Well, keep in mind, I wasn't there. Last time I was there was in 77.
Yeah.
I had basic there, so it's probably changed a lot. But,
you know.
I like White Sands Missile Range, though. It's a nice area there. But that's got to be going from that cold and everything, and now you're out here in the desert where everything is like dead. And,
yeah. Everything in Alaska, when it is summer, everything's green.
Yeah.
Really green. The grass grows. You don't have to water it. You know, and then to go from that to an Arctic environment to a desert environment. And then some of the stuff, because when that happened, when 9/11 happened, I was actually on leave from Alaska. I was in San Diego, and I was on leave from Alaska going to Fort Bliss.
So you were on active duty then when 9/11 happened.
Yes.
Okay.
Scary
Yes.
times.
So you're at Fort Bliss, Texas, and then where did you go from there? How long were you there for, too?
I was in Fort Bliss for 3 years.
For 3 years.
And that's where I got out.
Okay.
So
you served 7 years in the Army. What was your rank when you got out?
I was an E4.
E4, okay.
Yeah. They weren't, I was never...
I always found promotions hard in that field, too.
Well, and not just that. It's not just so much that it's hard, but it's that I was an older woman did not bode well for me.
No?
No.
Oh, that's sad.
No, because I had medical issues. Throughout my career in the military, I had medical issues.
I hope the Army has changed and adapted now since that.
I hope so, too. But I ended up on a permanent walking profile.
Okay.
And they don't like to promote that. And by the time I came from Alaska to El Paso to Fort Bliss with a recommendation for promotion that I watched get ripped up in my face. So, I dealt with two different kind of people. I dealt with young people that thought old people were just stupid and needed to go away. Or I dealt with young people that acknowledged the fact that I might have a little bit of wisdom to offer.
Yeah.
And at different times during my military career, those different factors definitely affected what happened in my military career. And I think it definitely, because most of the people that were directly in charge of me were, especially once I got to El Paso, were of the mind that old people should just disappear and that I was just a waste.
That's sad.
And so consequently, after getting an ARCOM, they deployed and went to Saudi Arabia because by then I didn't go. When I got to El Paso, when I got to Fort Bliss.
Which was what year?
Which was 2001.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I was not assigned to a signal.
No?
No, I was assigned to Patriot missile systems.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And...
Well, that is Air Defense Artillery.
Yes.
It's a school there, so...
But it is a completely different mission when it comes to their signal. Or at least it was back then.
Okay.
And basically, because I had not been trained on the equipment, I had not been trained on a radar, I had not been trained, they decided I was useless. Rather than train me, they just shoved me to the side and used that as a reason not to promote me. Fort Bliss was not a pleasant duty assignment for me. I had no support from my chain of command.
Right.
In fact, just exactly the opposite. I got put out. My daughter, as I explained to you earlier privately, my daughter has some special needs. And I was a single parent, and you have to have a family care plan. And so I'm standing there with my family care plan, and I'm being told I don't have one, and they're putting me out.
So they used that as an excuse.
Yes, they used it as an excuse to get rid of me because I could not deploy. And I said, so I requested a compassionate reassignment here to Fort Huachuca because my mother lived here.
Well, I was going to ask you, that was my next question, so you're in my head now.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did you end up here in our beautiful area of Cochise County?
Right. I asked for a compassionate reassignment because my mother had moved just outside of Fort Huachuca. In Sonoita.
In Sonoita? Okay.
In Sonoita.
Beautiful area out there.
Yes, gorgeous.
A lot of wine country.
And, and so I asked, like I said, and that was denied. Patriot has this attitude of once they have you, they're not letting you go.
Right.
You'll stay a Patriot soldier from then on. And that just, I was like, well, So they, like I said, and then I had some other things that happened because I know my original, the people that first started the whole thing of process of putting me out were looking to do a med board to get me put out. But then the new chain of command saw that I had family issues and put me out because of saying I didn't have a family care plan.
One thing I wanted to share with our viewers, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm trying to remember when I was talking to you on the phone the other day, Rusty, you're 100% disabled vet, right?
Just
and
recently.
you came in here recently to the Warrior Healing Center
Yes.
and got hooked up with the Vet Link.
Yes, I highly recommend them.
What was your percentage when you did that?
At 70.
You were at 70.
Yeah, when I got out, I received 70% disability rating.
So then she came in here to Warrior Healing Center, got help. Who did you see here?
Actually, Tim.
Tim? Tim helped you.
Tim.
Hey, Tim.
Yay, Tim.
Tim's birthday was yesterday. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Tim, shame on you for
Shall
not
we
telling
sing him
me.
happy birthday?
Yes, let's sing him happy
Ready?
birthday. Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tim. Happy birthday to you.
And many more. There you go. That was good.
So no, Tim, I was helping them out delivering some papers for them, and he asked me, he looked at me and he said, are you disabled? And I said, yes. And he said, well, and he said, if I can ask, and I said, I'm 70%. And he said, how would you like to be 100?
Yeah.
And I said, I'd love that.
Well, I mean, granted, you have to go through physical stuff to get that. So it sucks that you have to have these physical ailments, as I'm 100% myself, so I get that.
Right.
But at least, thank God, you got that peace of mind now that, you've got a little bit better income.
Yes.
And then when you hit that 100%, the door just opens at the VA with all these housing grants and automotive adaptive grants and just clothing allowances. There's all kinds of stuff.
My biggest hang-up right now is getting the paperwork. They still haven't sent it to me. That's how I was awarded my 100% on the 5th
of November. And you still haven't gotten officially notified?
We called them. Here's the deal. So basically what happened is I talked to Tim about it. He said, how would you like? And I said, great. And so then I got a call from VetLink. Okay. And I've dealt with one person the entire year.
Okay.
And that my first contact with him was October of 2000. Okay. So it took a while. You got to be patient.
Right.
But anytime I had contact with the VA, we would call them. We would basically, he would be my representative.
Okay.
Okay. And so I found out about the 100% because I was deposited all the back pay they owed me.
Now, when VetLink represents you, it's not free, right?
No, it's not free. However, my understanding is that you only pay them if you get an increase.
Right.
So, if they, the way I looked at it is I had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
If I didn't get an increase, then I didn't owe them any money.
Especially when it's a real battle to sometimes, because with the VA, with the doctors and stuff, and then what VetLinks does, they have their own doctors and a lot of resources.
See, and they know things that most people don't. Like, what we got bogged down with on my case is I'd gone to the physical with their doctor. We submitted everything. We asked the VA to make a decision. The VA came back and said, no, we want this other exam.
Okay.
And usually, well, I don't know what usually, but from what I'm understanding and talking to other veterans is they'll ask this question once, and I got a hold of VetLink. I told them. VetLink said, okay, let's call them. We called them. We said, my representative from VetLink, Harry, I got a shout out to Harry. He's awesome. He calls them and he says, okay, these are the choices that we have. We can ask you to make a decision based on what we've already submitted. We can say, or we can go to this exam, which we're not choosing that option.
Okay.
So we're choosing the option that we want you to make a decision based on what we've submitted. They asked me 4 or 5 times. 4 for sure. I think there was 5 times that they asked me to do this other exam. And so 4 or 5 times we called them saying, no, we want you to make the decision based on what
on their evidence submitted.
Yeah. And so that was the part that got kind of frustrating for me, was waiting on that. And but then I noticed that I'd gotten a big deposit.
So something was up, huh?
So we called them. Harry and I called them, and not only did they tell me I was at 100%, but they told me it was permanent and total.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
yeah. And that was just, I actually ended up in tears because I've been struggling.
Yes.
Financially, it's
a big jump.
Right. And I've always worked, and at first, when I first got out of the Army, I was able to work full time, but I haven't actually been able to work since 2017.
Okay.
It's just been too much. And so I've been trying to live on my 70%. That's not a lot of money.
Have you tried going through Social Security too? Now that's another
Not yet.
battle.
Not
when
yet.
you do that, be prepared, because the first thing they always do is deny.
Right.
That's like their standard method of operation. They just deny it.
Yep.
Because that's what happened to me, and then I submitted my rating exam.
Mm-hmm.
And because see, with Social Security, you're either disabled or you're not.
Right.
Cut and dry.
Right.
Whereas with the VA, they have all these different percentages. Their math doesn't always add up, right?
No, it doesn't.
But
yeah. And I have some old experience with the Social Security. My mother was 100% disabled. Yeah. But then I loved because she got to retirement age. She turned 67, and they decided all of a sudden she was no longer disabled.
Wow.
Yeah.
Magic number, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, how do you do that? And we couldn't figure it out. And what bothered me about it was that she didn't get much in her Social Security. And now all of a sudden, that measly amount that she was getting was taxable because Social Security Administration up and decided she was no longer disabled.
Yeah.
No exams, no anything. And if anything, she was a lot worse than she'd been when she got her 100%.
Right.
And that's what's wonderful about the VA is because once you get that and it's permanent total, that's
You're
it.
Set.
Good. So it's been, I'm still adjusting to this 100%. It's like I said, poor Harry, I'm on the phone with him, and I was so happy. I was so relieved that I was literally in tears, and made sure I called Kathy and Tim and told them, and, because I know they'd been waiting with me.
Right.
Waiting on the results. But in fact, yesterday when I was at work, one of my coworkers, she's also disabled, and we had briefly talked, and I gave her Dan Shaw's card and told her to reach out to Dan Shaw because apparently, and I don't know about her situation, but she had been granted a certain percentage. Then they reviewed it and they reduced her.
It can happen.
Yeah. So,
it's kind of a crapshoot with the VA.
Yeah. And it shouldn't. And the other thing that bothers me is I have another friend and I'm encouraging him to also go through VetLink because he tried on his own and got 10% increase.
Right. The thing is that I've talked to a few recently, men that came in to file a claim, and their spouse is the one that kept driving force. Hey, you need to get in there and get this filed because we just put it off because we got other things to do, or the manly thing is you don't complain,
right?
Yada yada yada, all that stuff. No, you served, you got disabled, got injured in the military. It's your right, your benefit.
It is,
and you need to get in, whether you do it through VetLinks or Disabled American Veterans Service Officer. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
Also, the VFW, the American Legion. There's all these different groups that can help. So, if you're watching, I encourage you to file
exactly, and realize that this is something that you need to know the right words.
Yes,
it's
very
kind
important.
of impossible to do on your own. I mean,
although I did have a service member that had his paperwork, he went online, filled out the forms and everything. I told him, I says, dude, I'm so impressed with how you got this filled out. You need to be a chapter service officer. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can educate me. Yeah. So
right. But I know for myself, everybody said, "Oh, go to My Healthy Vet, to get your paperwork because you can have it print." I can't even get on there. I am so me and technology just don't get along. Yep. So I've got to. Once we leave here today, I'm going to go fight that fight to try to get because right now they have me where, oh, you need to call us, well, and I've been told, plan on waiting a couple hours
Yep.
for them to answer the phone.
Hurry up and wait.
Yeah. So that's in the works today because I have other things that I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to buy a car, but my bank wants the paperwork from the VA to show my increase.
Right. And until you get that,
yep. I'm kind of stalled. So it's a good thing the car isn't here yet because it's in transit.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You can't buy new cars right now.
They're hard to get, too.
They're hard to get. And I have a deposit on one, so, I'm really jazzed about that, but I've got to get my paperwork lined up. So, and I know I can do it. It's just when you're not real good with computers like I'm not, and then I don't have a computer or printer at home, so I'll probably be back in here Monday going, can somebody print this out for me?
Do you do any volunteering still here at the Warrior Healing Center?
Not as much as I used to.
No? Okay. I know I saw you at Bagel and Brew last Thursday, so that was nice.
And I used to come in and help out, and I did help out clean up a little bit. But I kind of got out of the habit when the pandemic hit because my doctor said, because of my underlying conditions,
stay home.
Stay home, and now I'm always playing this balancing act of, am I not doing enough or am I doing too much, and trying to manage the pain levels because anytime I'm up and moving or even when I'm at home and down, I can only be in certain positions for so long before I'm in pain.
But the important thing is though, is that if you just sit and don't do nothing, I find that makes make it worse. Too.
Yes.
So it is good to be active.
It is. But it's balancing the activity with the pain levels.
Yes.
So, because even driving can be painful for me. So.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in and sitting down and talking with me today.
Hey, this has been
sharing
great.
Your story.
This has been great.
Maybe we can have you in later and do a little bit of chit-chat and answer a few more questions and get to know a little bit more. I do have a few quick announcements here I want to read for some upcoming events, if you can bear with me. Just should only take me about 30 minutes to get through this because I'm such a slow... I'm kidding. Not 30 minutes. So some of our upcoming events that are going to be happening here at the Warrior Healing Center, I would like to let you know every Monday through Friday from 0900 to 1600, you can come and see Kevin and Jerry here at Arizona at Work. So if you're a veteran and need help finding a job, this is the place to come, and they're the guys to see. Also open to veterans, ad hoc, we have live stream and podcast facilities. Live streaming like the show I'm doing right now. Tim and Kyle and Stone and Dan, they do a podcast, and so the facilities are there. If you would like to get more information about them, contact the Warrior Healing Center. You can also send them an email at vets, V-E-T-S, at warriorhealingcenter.org. And I will put that down in the comment section for you also. Or you can just call the Warrior Healing Center. Also, the Warrior Healing Center is accepting donations for Better Bucks, which is a program to help people in need. Instead of giving them money, they have this Better Bucks program. If you have any Toys for Tots is doing a drive here for their Christmas. And there's also the Warrior Food Pantry. So please bring any new and unwrapped toys to the Warrior Healing Center. You can also bring any non-perishable food items. And donations can be left at the front entry. On Saturday, November 27th, which is tomorrow, starting at 08:30, the Velo Vets group ride. They're going to meet at Pueblo del Sol Country Club parking lot. On Monday, November 29th, and pretty much every Monday, the United States Marine Corps League breakfast is on Mondays at the Landmark Cafe, and this is where Marines meet for coffee, swap old stories, war stories, camaraderie, all that good stuff. So Semper Fi to the Marines out there. For more information on that, you can call 520-456-5720. Also on Monday, starting at 17:30, going to 18:30, is the 5 treasures of Qigong, which is, like movement and yoga type stuff like that. Pretty good. On Wednesday, December 1st. Wow. Can you believe November's almost over with? Wow.
Yeah.
Here comes Christmas.
Yep.
The Velo Vets is having another group ride on Wednesday, starting at 8:30, and they will be meeting again at the Pueblo del Sol Country Club parking lot. If you're interested in Bible studying, I love those Bible study groups. They're having one here on December 1st, starting at 10:30 at the Warrior Healing Center. It's called Finding the Way. It's the Warrior Healing Center Bible Study, and it will be here at the Recreation Room. On Thursday, December 2nd, expect your phones to ring because the Rona Call Center will be active starting at 1000 hours, going through 1300 hours. So that's where we call veterans in the area and just kind of do a health and welfare check on them. On Thursday, December 2nd, starting at 1700 hours, we have the Flutes for Vets Circle. And on Thursday, December 2nd, starting at 1830, we have the Warrior Headspace and Timing, which is a PTSD support group. So if you're interested in PTSD support, that's the place to come, is right here at the Warrior Healing Center. On Sunday, December 5th, starting at 1200 hours, they're having the Warrior Healing Center dust off. If you want more information on that, call the center here at 520-221-4093. I was reading the numbers and scrolling across the... And lastly, we have on Monday, December 6th, starting at 1830, we have the Scottish American Military Society Post 81 is their monthly meeting that'll be here at the Warrior Healing Center at the main conference room. So, Rusty, again, thank you so much for coming in and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving out there from the Rising Eagle Studios here at the Warrior Healing Center. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.